Welcome back. You've heard the word wellness. Well, you've heard it everywhere. It's become an obsession. There's always a new diet to follow, or exercise routine to subscribe to, a new superfood to eat. Does this make you a better person?
Well, no, according to a new book called The Wellness Syndrome. In fact, the authors say this obsession with wellness does not lead to a well society. And one of them joins us now from London. Welcome to Andre Spicer. Good to talk to you. Such an interesting topic. Andre, you say that the obsession with wellness has negative ramifications, not just for the individual, but for all of us as a society as a whole. Why?
Well, there's a few reasons. On the one hand, we're getting this kind of polarisation. So on the one hand, you have people who are super fit, and then you have people who are super fat. Now, on each scale, essentially, they're making themselves miserable. So the super fit people get up at 5 a.m, go and do their spinning class, get on their treadmill desk at work, have their superfoods during the day, and basically have no time in the rest of their life to do the things which actually make us happy. On the other hand, we've got the super fat who look at these kind of images and say, this isn't for me, it's not realistic, so I'm just going to stick around and keep on doing what I'm doing. So this kind of extreme wellness we're getting is actually making people miserable.
But the people who are, up at 5 a.m. doing their spin classes and, eating their chia seed,
kale
best
smoothie.
Biscuits and kale smoothies, they would claim that they are happy. But you say that this notion of wellness is opposed to deep thinking and that it doesn't make us ultimately happy.
Well, have any of you sat next to some of these wellness freaks during, say, a barbecue or a dinner party? It's boring. You get them checking in on their wellness app, showing, oh, I've walked this many steps today. At the World Economic Forum this year, all of the participants were given a pedometer, and if they walked so many, I think it was 6 kilometres, then a bicycle got given to an African child. Sounds good. But then they became obsessed with the number of steps they've worked today. I mean, when I visit back in Melbourne, where my in-laws are from, the way people talk about eating is enough to put you off your food.
Is it not just like an obsession that anybody has? If you have a single focus about anything, you're not very interesting? Or is it specifically about wellness?
I think it's about wellness in particular. I mean, okay, all obsessives are boring, but if you look at wellness very particularly, you find that it actually makes you more miserable. So there was quite a nice study done recently where they showed a group of people an image which is supposed to make everyone happy. It was a sports person winning something. There was a difference. One group were given a statement to read out, something like, happiness is very important, blah, blah, blah. The other group didn't have that statement. The group who read the statement first actually felt worse after seeing this thing which is supposed to make them happy. So what this teaches us is obsessive focus on our own happiness, our own well-being, actually forces us to ask these questions. Am I really happy? Am I really in a good mood? And it often makes us more miserable.
It's very internal, isn't it? Too. It's
yes,
not
it does seem to be
broadly.
inwardly focused, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we've stopped kind of reaching out to people and started to reach inwards. So we begin looking at our diet apps and we begin trying to improve ourselves. We've kind of lost control over aspects of our lives which we felt meaningful, like our work, our relationships, all that stuff. And the only thing we feel like we have control over is our bodies. And, we turn inwards. And then it's very difficult for us to engage with people around us.
One of the things that's interested me for quite a while, Andre, is the notion that we should be happy and that in, trying to be happy all the time, perhaps we're denying ourselves access to other emotions which are really rich part of the human experience. And in trying to be calm in our minds, we might be blocking out perfectly good reasons not to be calm.
Absolutely. I mean, if I think about myself, I've had a 2-year-old child, and she makes me really happy sometimes, but also she makes me really tired sometimes, really angry, and that's the kind of range of human emotions. And if you're just focusing on happiness, then you start thinking something's wrong with me if I feel miserable or I feel tired or I feel a little bit angry. We're human, and being human means that we have a range of different emotions.
We often hear that people that are fit and healthy are generally otherwise very successful in their lives. Is there a correlation between wellness and income levels?
Well, what we tend to see is there is a correlation between body weight and income levels. But what we've become obsessed with is this idea that if you're healthy, then you're going to be successful. Now, just think about it this way. The Prime Minister of Australia 30 years ago used to be a world champion beer drinker, right? He was the fastest guy at drinking a yardie of beer in the world. Today, it's a guy who's basically known around the world for wearing budgie smugglers, waking up at 5 a.m. and getting in lycra going bicycle riding. And that's not just in Australia. The Prime Minister of Finland has a regular column in the in-flight magazine of the National Airway where he gives out self-help advice, you know, everyday self-help advice.
Yeah, right, Andre. It's an interesting phenomenon, and we don't have a lot of time to cover it in depth, but it's a really interesting thesis that you put forward. And thank you for chatting with us.